we're going to continue discussing this idea of reopening up the schools. When we look at the urban schools around the country, majority of the urban schools are not open. I looked at Chicago, where the unions are fighting tooth and nail. The school isn't safe. The school isn't safe. We can't bring the kids back. We can't bring the teachers back. Locally here, the union has said the only issue, biggest issue we have is the cleanliness of the school. Not kids not graduating, not kids, black and brown kids and poor white kids being impacted by COVID, not 14 million people facing eviction, not family members dying, not over 400,000 people dying. The only issue we have is the cleanliness of the school. Now, I say that to say this. CDC just put out a report, if you didn't see it, said that it's safe for schools to go back into session. So the CDC, who we said, hey, trust the CDC, trust the science, they have just put out a report as of 2 to 3 days ago saying it is safe to go back to school. My question, though, and this is what perplexes me, and maybe somebody can help me with this. Why is it that it seems the schools that are not going into session, the schools that, for majority of the schools that kids will not be returning back into school, are the schools where the kids are black and brown and come from poor communities? Somebody help me understand that. Our suburban schools are back. Private schools are back. But in our urban schools, we're saying we can't figure it out. Somebody will, maybe somebody a little bit more educated than me, know a little bit more about school, maybe know a little bit more about policy than Dr. Abraham. Help me understand, why is it that the only schools that say it's not safe for kids to return and very aggressive about it are the schools where they're black and brown children and poor white children? Why is it that our urban schools perform significantly less than, academically less than our suburban schools? Why is it that financially our suburban schools tend to have 3 times per pupil allocation than our urban schools? Meaning they have 3 times the amount of money per student in suburban schools versus urban schools. Why is that happening? And I listen to these, union people that are online screaming, it's not safe. It's not okay for our kids to for the kids to go to school. So, school leaders, superintendents, principals, I think one of the biggest hurdles we have is, how do we create buy-in to help the teachers feel safer going back into the school? One thing I know for certain, oftentimes the people that make the loudest noise have the fewest numbers. Most times when you're running an organization, the individuals that make the noise, who say they have the biggest rallies of people behind them, they tend to have the smallest number. They just have the biggest voice. For most educators, they actually miss their students. They actually prefer to be back into the building, trying to get a sense of normalcy. President Biden put something out, said there's a strong push to get schools back by May. I think one of the biggest issues, though, I find is that there's no other place that this is acceptable, right? It's only acceptable in urban schools, right? Like, it's only acceptable where there's black or brown children. That's only acceptable there. And it's only acceptable in education. If you were in corporate and you told your supervisors that you're not coming back to work, you would get fired. If you said, hey, I'm not coming back to work. Hey, I work for the local grocery store and I don't feel safe. I don't care if you got the shields up and you make me wear a mask. I don't feel safe going back to the grocery store. They would give you a pink slip. You're done. There was a local suburban district where the superintendent at this local district, suburban, thought he was able to do the same thing as his counterpart in the urban district. He said, hey, not going back to school, keep the school remote. Not a joking matter, but he said that. He didn't have a plan. The parents went berserk. They were outside picketing and arguing and forcing the board to do something. Consequently, that brother lost his job. As a result, kids were back into the school. Maybe I'm saying all this to say this. Parents, here is an opportunity in Chicago and Los Angeles and Buffalo and all of these urban districts where the superintendents and the board are saying we need to get kids back and the unions are pushing back or vice versa. This might be the time, parents, like never before, that we use our voice to say enough is enough. You got to ask yourself a question. If our suburban kids are going back, but our urban kids aren't going back, what's going to happen? There's still for-profit prisons. We know that for-profit prisons predict their prison cell numbers off of third grade reading scores. We know this. So if we have a lot of our third graders, fourth graders, and a lot of our children who are already struggling academically, not going back into the school, then what? It's like leading sheep to the slaughter. What's going to happen 10 years from now, 15 years from now? What's going to be the impact of COVID on all of our black and brown children that, for black males, we represent 6% of the country, 37% of the prison population. Black people, we represent about 13% of the country, but about 50% of the prison population. There's a correlation. No education equates to high incarceration. That is called a school to prison pipeline. So as people are playing politics, and listen, teachers, you don't have to inbox me. This is not playing politics. It's really dangerous. Listen, baby. Listen, love, if it's too dangerous for you to do right now, resign. Say, you know what? I can't do it. I'm scared. I'm going to do something else. Let somebody who's a little bit braver than me go in there. Once everybody gets the vaccine, I'll come back. But it's not fair for you to hold a position, get paid, while your supervisor says come back to work, and you say it's not safe, but you still want to get paid by sitting at home, and your supervisor say come to work. is unfathomable. If you can't do the job, if you're afraid, if it's too much for you, take time off, resign. Find something that you can work from home that makes you feel good. Save my inbox. You don't have to text me or email and get into a debate. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. Find something else. But our kids need to be educated. Our kids need that interaction with their teachers. They need that differentiation. They need to have educators that love them and say, we're here for you. Principals, we need you to advocate. This is not the time, administrators, for us to try to play games. Our kids' lives are at stake. Our students' lives are at stake. They're at stake at this point, and we're depending on educators to say, we care about our kids, and we're going to do whatever it takes. So we got to separate them, if they got to wear the shields, if we got to make sure we do this, make sure the school is sanitized. But we know that the research has said out-of-school distance learning is not the answer. It does not work. And if you think it works, teacher, if you think it works, administrator, if you think it works, union person who, if you think it works, then let's do this. Let's test the kids academically and let's see where they fall in. Wow. Hey, listen, family, I just want to say thank you for taking this time and spending it with me. You could have been any other place, but you decided to be here with me, and I am appreciative. You have just heard me give you part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the series, How to Increase Student Performance After a Pandemic. For more information, if you want me to come out to your school, please email me. The email is down below. You can always call me. The number is in the video. I would love to talk to you. I would love to do a needs assessment on your school and really pinpoint the issues you're having. I can't wait to hear from you. I know that every school can be successful. Principals, superintendents, teachers, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for all of the work that you continue to do. Until next time, this is Dr. Mark Abraham, President and CEO of MEA Consulting Services, LLC, one of the fastest growing consulting companies in the country. Let's go.